right, time for our Transfer Talk Spurs special, whether or not this is a good idea or a bad idea. Okay, so we're going to start with a story that's going to roll all summer. Should Spurs put their hat in the ring to bring Gareth Bale back to London, or would the Galactico be an unnecessary cash drain and upset the balance of the squad? Good idea or bad idea? Gareth Bale to Spurs.
I almost think at the end of last season it looked like it would have been a good idea to get Bale back in the Premiership. Whoever got him in is going to get. And don't get me wrong, his talent is unbelievable. His pace, he's got goals in his. But where would he fit into that Tottenham team at the moment? Like, you've already got your main man in Kane, which people rely on. Like, you play him on the left. Bale needs to be the superstar of the side, and would he be that now when he comes back? And like I said, the amount of money they're going to have to spend on him, I think Tottenham would be. I know how Tottenham run. Tottenham are not a frivolous team. They don't go out and spend money. So they're going to be thinking, economies of scale. We can buy Gareth Bale in, who's going to drain the bank, and we'll have him for a couple of seasons. And he may not be the player we sold because he seems to be deflated, and there's rumours about his attitude and all sorts of stuff. But you never know. He could be reinvigorated if he comes back to Tottenham. But could we get 2 or 3 players for that price that will really push the squad and create competition in a lot of areas that will make this a better team? That's what Tottenham will be thinking, because I know that's the way they work.
Yeah, and Christian Eriksen is the one that everybody's also talking about. He's like 44. I'll get to it actually. I have it here. Will the Champions League final be Christian Eriksen's last game in a Spurs shirt? Reports suggest Real Madrid could offer 44 million plus Marco Asensio for the Dane. Is it time to say goodbye?
That one I can kind of see happening. If Tottenham were to win the Champions League, changes things a bit. They've got a medal and he's still at a huge team. But Real Madrid are, you look at Liverpool and Real Madrid, and Liverpool will be closer to Real Madrid than what Tottenham are. Tottenham are still a good bit away from that sense, even though I don't want them to be. The Tottenham are further away. So from going from Tottenham to Real Madrid is a much bigger step, and you're at a much bigger club. So for Eriksen, if he was to win something, it's either going to push him over the edge and you think, I'll say goodbye to Tottenham happily and move on, or else, and if they lose, you think he's going to go because they haven't won anything. So you can see that one being more realistic, I think, than Bale coming back.
And if he goes, is suddenly, like, he's a very important part of that team.
Really important. And again, replacing him because of his creativity, his vision on the ball, the pass he picks out, his assists, his corners, everything he offers them. And you can see how important he is, even for Denmark against Ireland. He was their linchpin. He did everything for them. And if you stopped him, Denmark didn't. So
he killed us.
Yeah, he killed us. So he is hugely important for them. But could they replace him? Possibly.
Okay. Leicester's English midfielder James Maddison, who's only 22, attracting interest from Spurs. Good idea or bad idea? Do you see this happening?
I could see that being kind of happening, because Tottenham are always on the lookout for bringing in young English talent. That's a criteria. That kind of happened when I was at the club. You could see there was a change in how they were thinking about the squad and the team. When I first came in, there was a lot of older players that were coming towards the end, the likes of Teddy Sheringham and Les Ferdinand, Tim Sherwood, Jamie Redknapp, all these players that had amazing careers but were not at their best when they were at Tottenham.
Yeah.
And there was a huge decision just to say, right, we're going to bring in young players. So they brought in Aaron Lennon, who was 18, they brought in Tom Huddleston, they brought in Wayne Routledge, they brought in loads of young players, Jermaine Jenas, that were going to be there for the forefront, and if they develop them, then they could probably sell them. So it's kind of like a new way to go. Tottenham are going to be, and they're good at developing players. So if you're a young player, you would think Tottenham is a good place to go for you. So I think he'd be appealed in it, and I think Tottenham would be interested in it.
I'd love to see Leicester keep the players that they had at the end of last season together, because it looked like when Brendan Rodgers arrived that they had a philosophy, not to use the word, that suited the players. All of a sudden, it was like they'd had the players, they'd had weird managerial decisions over the last 18 months, and now they've got somebody who's there, who has experience, who it's not his first rodeo at all. And I'd like to see him have the opportunity for.
Yeah, I think you can see, because he has a real certain way of how he plays. You can see it. I suppose you wouldn't have seen it so much with Celtic, because Celtic was dominant regardless. But at Swansea, you could see where Brendan Rodgers, like Liverpool you could a bit, but Swansea more so, because he had a group of players, and the way he had them playing, they played their way through the divisions, and he had them playing an unbelievable style of football. And when Swansea first came in the scene in the Premiership, they were passing teams off the pitch.
Yeah.
And that was down to Rodgers, the way he had them playing. He's trying to recreate that with Leicester, and he's got a young squad there as well, and a few experienced players to do it.
And all the teams in the Premier League have enough money now, so if Spurs come and James Maddison gets his head turned by money, Leicester can step in and say, yeah, okay, we'll pay you what they were going to pay you. We want 2 seasons out of you, and we want to get a good transfer fee out of you. So here's your new contract, here's a buyout clause, and you're here for the next 2 seasons, that's just knuckle down. Like the money in the Premier League isn't creating equality, but it is giving some of those middle teams a chance to keep players.
It is. I think the only issue Leicester will have is that it's Tottenham that are looking at them. And I think for most young players, Tottenham would be more of an appeal than because it seems like the young players will play, and you've got a manager that will develop you. So that's kind of, whereas if Man City come in for you, you kind of think, I'm probably not going to play.
Yeah.
If Liverpool came for me, I'm probably not going to play. Whereas Tottenham come in for you, you think, you know what, under Pochettino, he might give me a chance, and he will try and work and develop me. Not that Guardiola and Klopp wouldn't, but I just think Tottenham seem more capable of bringing these players on almost, and that could be an appeal to Madison.
There's this picture here. Can you see that picture of Guardiola back up again? So what's going on here?
Yeah.
Is this tapping up? Is this just I like the cut of your jib?
You see, he does this all the time. Remember the photo of him in Redmond? He was telling Redmond he was the best young player in England. Why does he not do what he should do? Like, so he seems to, if he likes a player, he goes over and compliments them and gives them a bit of a
coaching.
Yeah, a bit of coaching, which is, I suppose, you just can't stop. You can see after the last game of the season, you see the FA Cup final, and they just annihilated Watford, and he was over coaching Sterling.
Right.
And you're just looking, going, this guy is just non-stop. Like, it's unbelievable. Sterling had been the best player on the pitch and the turned Watford inside out. And then he was telling me, you could see he was visibly telling him he should have done something better. So I just think he can't help himself.
Yeah. So Villa captain Jack Grealish apparently thought he was going to complete a transfer to Spurs last summer when Spurs boss Mauricio Pochettino tried to sign him. He said that he'd wave goodbye to the fans at the end of the season, thinking that he might never be back. Should Spurs have made the deal happen?
Well, it's not going to happen now. And I think after being, I was with Villa for a season not last year, the year before, I trained with him, and I'm with Jack firsthand, and he is a talent. He is an absolute talent. Like, seriously, this guy, he just goes past players. He's strong, he's physical, his attitude has changed. Like, I think Steve Bruce coming there, Dean Smith has moved him on, but when Steve Bruce came in, Steve Bruce kind of put the gauntlet down for him and made him kind of turn into a man and more of a professional than what he had been. He was young and he was a bit naive, so was, enjoying football as life, whereas I think Steve kind of said to him, listen, if you want to make it and you've got the talent to make it, you need to kind of improve your lifestyle and everything else, and he has done that. And then by Dean Smith giving him the armband, I think was an absolute stroke of genius, because he just put more responsibility on his shoulders, and every game in the Championship he's probably been the best player, and I think he could do it in the Premiership as well. But with Villa being in the Premiership, he's going to want to play for Villa. He is such a die-hard Villa fan, he's going to want to play for him in the Premiership.
Yeah. Like, last season was the year to do this for other teams and to kind of take that punt, and I think that because the attitude had been an issue and a question mark, that made teams very reluctant to commit 25 million or 30 million, which it was last year. But I think after his first season back in the Premier League next year, that transfer fee is going to look like it would have been chump change.
If he can do what he's done in the Championship, in the Premiership, everybody will be talking about him. You won't just be talking about English teams, you'll be talking about, like, there'll be teams all over Europe that will want to sign Jack Grealish because of how good he is. Like, he finds the space in the pocket, and like I said, he doesn't look that quick, but he goes past players like they're not there. He's physically strong, he has a knife, he has vision to pick past. The only thing that Jack doesn't have and doesn't do is he doesn't get enough goals from his position, and that's something that he'll have to improve on to take it to the next level. But I'm sure he's capable of it because he's got the technical ability.
Where does he play?
In the hole, really. He's kind of like that 10 man. Like I said, Tottenham, if they were to lose Eriksen,
they could sign him.
That would suit him.
Like, he's not at Eden Hazard's level, but is he a potential replacement for Eden Hazard if you're Chelsea? If are you looking at that, or?
He's slightly different to Hazard in the sense that Hazard is so dynamic. So when you look at Hazard, you think, whoa, he's so quick, and like I said, I think Hazard is probably top 3 players in the world, top 4 players in the world. You can't say that about Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish is when he's been at his best, has been in the Championship. So that's the question mark people are going to hold of him. He's been fantastic for Villa and their talisman for the last 2 seasons in the Championship, but that's a step away from the Premiership. So this would be whether or not he's good enough, and the teams, if they had taken a punt, they could have found out for themselves. Now, if he does in the Premiership, it's going to be a huge task to get hold of him.
It's also reported that Lukaku met Man United officials yesterday and has their blessing to leave. Inter are the front runners to sign him, and apparently Man United are going to make a profit on the 75 million that they spent on the striker, which is good business because he's not really worth 75 million, is he?
Not really. Is anybody worth a figure that they're banding around these days? But in the sense of, I was discussing this before, I think Lukaku, he's scored goals and he's proven to score goals throughout everywhere he's played in England. So as much as Man U will sell him, they will sell him. If they get an offer, they'll get rid of him because he seems to be surplus to requirements there, and they have Rashford and they have other people, and they'll probably try and bring someone else in. But you would think if a manager that has anything about him, they would think, right, Lukaku, who scored goals everywhere,
I can do something
I
with
can
him.
get him to score goals. Like it's in him to score goals, unless they don't see anything from him in training. They don't see, like, Solskjaer's worked him, so maybe he thinks there's not enough commitment. He doesn't want to be here, and at that point, then you cut your losses. But I can see him going. But you would think that with what he's capable of doing and the goals he's scored in the Premiership, you know what I mean. If you're not going to get the right money for him, you should try and change him. But again, it's going to be dependent on his attitude and if he wants to be there.
Yeah, and if you decided you want to cash in, take whatever.
Yeah, if you can get more than what you paid for him, then it's good business.
Ashley Young, it looks like, is going to DC United. Should Manchester United offload Ashley Young after 8 years of service? That's pretty straightforward.
Yeah,
isn't it?
I think that's going to happen. Like, I think he's the amount of criticism he came under this season, and you have to give it to him. He's actually played well, even for the fact that he got himself back in the English squad for the World Cup and performed quite admirably as a left back for England over there. That was pretty amazing. This season's been difficult for him, and he's got a lot of the bad press when it's come to Man U.
Do Villa sign somebody like Ashley Young who have a relationship with him from back in the day? Like, is that like a type of thing where a Premier League team needs the injection of experience, or do you actually not do that and don't waste your money, sign someone young?
See, where would you play him? That's the thing now, because he's played at fullback for the last couple of seasons for Man U. If you were to sign him at Villa, would you want him to be your fullback, or would you be signing him as a winger? So that's the difficult thing. If you're still playing on the wing, you think maybe you could have him as an experienced player and throw him on, but as a fullback,
he's not good enough.
He's not good enough. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Bayern Munich are reported to be struggling to get the cash together to lure Sané from City, but they have apparently offered 80 million to sign Paulo Dybala from Juve. How much would Sané cost if Dybala's 80 million and they can't afford him? Is there what?
Yeah, you think, you're talking 110, 120?
Is he that much more? Okay.
I don't know. Like,
based on all those goals that he hasn't scored?
I don't know. It's a Premiership, isn't it? They seem to have like the money.
The extra price.
Yeah, it's extra price. Yeah, so you've done it. But he is, like, Sané is he's blistering, isn't he? His pace is frightening, and the positions he gets at, and like the fact Guardiola has not relied on him as much this season is pretty amazing. Like,
yeah, but he's still a kid, though. I think
he's young,
I think that he's one of those players you could definitely grow into his talent at 25, 26.
You think being at City would only develop him under a manager like Guardiola. Like, you would think Sané would want to stay there, thinking the things they're doing. Why would you?
Yeah, no, for sure. And then the last one for now is Real Madrid apparently have to pay Neymar 1.2 million a week in order to take him to the Bernabeu, and that is pounds sterling is the figure that I have. It's not even euros. I mean, obviously, maybe by the time he plays any football for Real Madrid, the euro is going to be worth more than the pound anyway if Brexit happens. But is he worth the money? It says here.
I'm not Neymar's biggest fan, I have to admit. I think it's just loads of smoke and mirrors without actually, like, he does score goals and he's going to be one of the top goal scorers in the league, but that's a PSG and a Barcelona. When it comes to it, is he a team player? Is he someone that you would build your team around?
Did you see the footage from the Brazilian training camp yesterday?
No, I didn't see it, no.
Right, so there's a 19-year-old kid who comes into training, he nutmegs Neymar, and Neymar hacks him down, just grabs him.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't do that to me because I'm Neymar. And you're like, what? Screw you, Neymar.
Yeah, you want to say what we really think about him, but like I said, I don't hold any, like, if you were to, like, when people try and put him in the same sentence as Messi and Ronaldo, I just completely dismiss it. I think you can't even have him anywhere near it. As, like I said, Eden Hazard is a better player than Neymar.
Like, you could certainly build a team around Eden Hazard and you'd be comfortable enough with what you're going to get.
You look at his attitude, his desire, the way he trains, the way he plays. For Belgium in the World Cup, that game against Brazil, Eden Hazard was 10 times the player Neymar was in that match. He literally drove them forward. He was picking the ball up 15 yards inside his own half and going past 4 or 5 players to get them up the pitch on his own.
Yeah.
Neymar was, I mean, it was...
Yeah. Well, I did some nice things for my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
All right.